Hey, everybody, I'm Madeline Sklar, and I got Keith Keller here with me, my awesome co-host, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today on Blab About Twitter.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a biggie, isn't it? You want to introduce the subject? It's so huge. I mean, it's revolutionary. It could be a Twitter killer.
I think it's a killer, not revolutionary. I'm not very happy. Did y'all hear the big news today about Twitter wanting to up the number of characters from 140 to 10,000? What are they thinking? Here, I'm going to post.
No way.
I thought that was a joke.
I wish it was too. No, I'm going to post a link. There it is in the chat box. It's not, I'm sorry about my dog. He's wound up. It's not 100%, and there's plenty of time for Twitter to change their mind, but it got posted today by Recode, and Recode is like a techie blog, and they basically are saying that this is going to happen and is going to happen in March, and that Twitter is not going to be like this long, 10,000 word tweet. It'll still be 140 characters, but then you can click to see more, and then it'll be, because 10,000 is the limit on the direct messages now. That's the new thing, which is fine for direct messages, but to have long tweets, it's like, okay, I have a blog because I want to blog, and I have Medium, and I have Tumblr, and I have Facebook. I have all these places to do long form writing. It's not what I use Twitter for. Twitter is not for long form. So I understand, their stocks prices are dropping like crazy, and it's always about money. It's like, I don't think they're really thinking about those of us that use Twitter and what it means to us, So I'm not very happy about this. What do you guys think?
What would you prefer in its place, Madeline? I'm going to make sure that Twitter gets this. Twitter AU. There's a couple of funky people here in Australia that run Twitter in Sydney. I'm sure they're going to be scouring the internet, finding out what the sentiment is. What would you rather happen?
What would I rather have?
Make it 200, 500, 1,000?
Keep it the same, 140.
Same here.
Okay.
What
do you think, Cheval?
It's garbage.
You think so?
Yes, it's garbage, because what are they trying to be like other social media platforms for? To expand it to like 10,000 characters. I mean, they basically are successful in a sense because one, you have to force creativity in order to use Twitter, and that's the best part about it. But the problem is like they try to be like other social media platforms, and basically they're like they're like the dog chasing the dog wagging the tail, basically. Yeah. So it's garbage.
Yeah.
Do you feel game to have a go at this one, Lindsay?
I honestly saw somebody post about it, and I thought it was just somebody making something up. But so just for clarification though, 10,000 characters would be, any thoughts just on like,
I'll show you because I saw
on Facebook.
One paragraph.
Or doesn't it have a limit?
I've never made it to a limit on Facebook. I don't even know if there is one.
Facebook, I'm trying to
one paragraph.
I'm trying to remember what the limit is, but hold on. There's an article I just posted. I'm going to put it in the chat room here for you guys to see that I thought was interesting because the image at the top shows you like what 10,000 characters looks like. So, they're trying to make a point, which was so awesome. So take a look at this link right here. And, 10,000 characters is a lot.
Oh yeah, that is too much.
But still, I mean, a lot of people are already getting on Twitter and saying, you guys stop complaining. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be 10,000 characters on the page. It'll be click to more. But still, the point is, Twitter's cool because it's 140 characters. It's cool because it's short form, not long form. One article I read, there's a bunch of articles now about this. One of the articles I read said that, that Twitter was originally to be like SMS texting, right? And things have evolved since then, which I totally get, but still, it's the coolness of the 140 characters. That's why we're all on Twitter and why we've stayed.
I totally agree, but why have 1.4 billion people on Facebook and only 500 million people on Twitter? I mean, even Google Plus apparently has more. I mean, I don't believe that, to be honest, but apparently Google Plus has more followers, people on using it. But why is it like it's half? If Twitter was so funky and everyone in the world got it, why isn't everyone using it? Devil's advocate question. What do you think, Cheval?
I mean, because they don't really understand Twitter, and the thing is, though. Numbers really, in my opinion, numbers really doesn't matter. It's the engagement, the right kind of connections that matters. Especially being on Twitter, Twitter is for the certain people. It's not for everybody, and that's what makes it unique. They don't need to change it to 10,000 characters just to, try to be like everyone else. Because if they do that, they're gonna lose people, and it's gonna go downhill from there.
Agreed.
My gut feeling is it could be a Twitter killer. It could be a Twitter killer. And if they're not careful, and I'm hoping that they do watch these types of conversations, because we're having it in the open forum, so we're giving everyone here a chance to have a really good say about what they think. They're a company; they're entitled to make their own opinions, but it would change it dramatically. It would actually change the whole vibe of what Twitter has and what it is, I believe. And,
I would prefer that. I was going to say, I would prefer that they went and did the that you're able to edit tweets.
I wish we could edit tweets. That's something that I get so frustrated with. And I've read about this, and they're saying that it would cause too many issues in the stream and with once it's posted. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's a great point right there. I'm gonna feed my dog. I think that's why he's barking and driving us all crazy. So I apologize. He gets wound up. In his older age, he has found his voice, and his new thing is to project his voice while I'm working like this. So I apologize.
Look at me! Look at me! It's a donkey dog.
So I am so sorry. And Keith, I'm making you a co-host too, so that way, if you need to add somebody in. Did it show up as you being a co-host?
No,
he's co-host.
If you want to, while you're doing that, I'll just share a little bit of funky stuff about Blab. And I love Blab, and I'll tell you why I love it. We're talking here with 4 people, which is great. I get a recording which is on video, which I put on YouTube. I mean, it takes a bloody long time, but it does happen. And I sent that to you, Cheval, So now we've got a recording on YouTube for posterity. Is that how you say posterity? Because you can't do that on Periscope and Meerkat. Well, you can, but it's really complex. I get an audio sent to my inbox, which I turn into a little snippet and put on SoundCloud. So from 1 hour of my time, I get a video put on YouTube. I get an audio I can put on SoundCloud. I put it into my blog. And all I've done is spend an hour of time and a little bit of fiddling about. And I've got content. And this is a chunky piece of content. I mean, this idea only happened today. This article only came out today. The idea is not new. And as Lindsay said, you thought it was a joke. It's so ridiculous you thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
So
I'd be okay if they...
You go.
I was going to say, if they upped it to 150 characters, I'd be okay with that. But, 10,000.
Yeah. I think 200... Look, it has occurred to me that it'd be lovely to be able to add another photo or a few more hashtags or maybe 200. Maybe 200 or there was actually one stage they were going to shrink it down to 117. I think they talked about that for one stage, talking about shrinking it. But maybe 200. But 10,000 will just completely kill the vibe. And It looks like everyone's in agreement. Does anyone see? I'll be very interested. Does anyone have any upside here? What's the silver lining of a tweet with 10,000 characters? I tell you what, it's completely changed the welcome DMs. If you notice that, these welcome DMs are this long with everything known to mankind. That's one thing I'm going to picket. I'm going to picket Twitter about. They have to boycott. They have to ban DMs. They have to ban them. They're so annoying. I'm going to make this my personal project.
Well, and you know, why do people think they need to do auto DMs? You know, and like as soon as I follow somebody, I get this immediate like spam, like especially the ones where it's like, come join me on Facebook or LinkedIn because that's where I'd rather be. It's like, well, wait a minute, why did you follow me, and why? You know, I just don't get it. I don't understand why people do that, but I get that a lot.
You know, this is when eventually over the course of this blab, but also in the course of the following blabs in the new year, we're actually going to be talking about monetizing Twitter, and the really essence of this idea is not sending people somewhere else. It's not, hello, I know you followed me on Twitter, but actually I've got an ebook, and I'd really prefer you actually downloaded that. The essence of this strategy, and I'm very interested to hear from Madeline on this because she's the queen of monetizing Twitter, is engagement. Hello, I'm on Twitter today, and if you want to chat, I'm right here. If not, that's okay. I'm awake most days. I'm alive in the Twitterverse most of the time. But let's chat in real time as real people. That's the essence of what they call social selling. You know, hello, I've got a book, and if you want that, here it is. But let's not talk about that today. What do you need? You got a blog? Have you got a video out? Can I help you with your event? What's going on in your world? Just chatting to someone in Pittsburgh who's on the way to the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game, and it's bloody 8 degrees or something. You know, shocking.
It's cold down here.
It's a real conversation.
Or up here.
Would you agree with that, Madeline? Is that the essence of social selling? Is that the essence of how you convert your Twitter time into real clients and money in the bank?
Well, you know, it's all about relationships. You know, you got to build relationships. And the problem I see with people is they get on social media, and this is with all social media sites, they get on social media and they want to make sales right now. So you don't know me, I don't know you, but buy my book, darn it, because it's awesome and it rocks and you should buy it. And it's like, okay, but I don't know you. Why on earth? So what you were saying before, where it's more about what can I do to help you? You know, and so you're not going to get that immediate right now gratification of a sale or something, but is building relationships and knowing that as you build relationships down the road, the money will come, you know, but first you got to be like, what can I do to help? You know, here I've been doing online marketing for 20 years, this month right now, and which is crazy. And what I've learned in all of these many, many years is that, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. Like things are not going to happen real fast, real quick, real easy. It just doesn't work that way. You know, focus on building relationships and like whatever it is that you're doing. Like, you know, one of the things I do is I share great content on Twitter. You know, it's my thing. Everybody knows it. And I just make sure it's always good stuff. I read so many articles every day, you know, all these blog posts, all these different things. And I'm always looking for good quality information that I can pass on to other people that I know that they will find value in. So I'm doing the work for them. And through that process, people get to know, like, and trust me. And through that process, that's when, you know, if I have an online training course like the one I'm doing right now, my Tweeting for Profits, you know, more people will sign up because they've gotten to know me over time. And that's important. And I think if more people kind of slow down and think more about what can I do to serve people and not worry so much about that immediate gratification, because it just doesn't work that way. It's not going to happen.
I totally agree. Lindsay and Cheval, do you want to comment on that?
I totally agree with Madeline, because basically, you know, you have to build that trust factor first. And, you know, especially, you know, with, with Twitter chats, that's a huge deal there, because if you can like provide value to them every chance you get, you're gonna instantly build that trust. But it's not gonna be like an instant success. It's gonna take time, and that's the thing that many are not understanding. It's like they think that it's gonna be like a quick get rich quick scheme in a sense when they're on Twitter. They have to build that trust factor over time, slowly but surely, because once you build that trust factor over time, then you earn the right in a sense to to sell to them, but only if they ask you if you have anything to promote. That's what I would say for that. If they ask you to, if you want to share about your website or your upcoming like books or whatever, then you can share it then.
Yeah. So provide value and wait to be asked. That's a really interesting synopsis there, because a lot of people, as you said, that look, I just want to sell stuff. I've got a book and I don't really even know if you even like me. I don't even need you to like me. I just want you to buy the book. I'm sorry that I'm not looking into the camera, and actually I've decided that my version of the Blab idea is that I'm keeping the conversation flowing and sharing them. So I just shared on Twitter, focus on building relationships on Twitter, #Blab Twitter. So that's my little piece of the pie. So I don't look into the camera all the time. Lindsay, what do you want to think? What do you want to say about that?
I don't look into the camera all the time either. But I was going to say, and I think the building relationships builds the know, like, and trust factor too, right? So, just because Keith and I, like we've talked a lot. We've been talking a lot, and Keith might not necessarily buy anything from me. I might not necessarily buy something from him, but we can expand it to our tribes. And I can say, hey, Keith has this really great Twitter product that, if you're looking for something, you can check out. And so I think that's the thing with the relationship building, is it does build the know, like, and trust factor. And Cheval, I know we've seen each other in a few Twitter chats, and that's how I know you. I've never seen you on Blab or anything, but it's I think that's the most important thing.
Well, look, I don't know what's happened to Madeline. Maybe she's got to feed a dog, or she's jumped out. You've just mentioned Twitter chats there, and Cheval, I know you're a big fan of Twitter chats. How do you think the idea of Blab builds trust compared to, or in preference to, Twitter chats? Because you've just mentioned them there, Lindsay. Do you prefer them, or do you use them in concert with Blabs? Do you do both?
I love I'm gonna be honest. I kind of see. I don't want to say a disservice to Blab, but I see Blab as an extension of Twitter chats in a sense.
Yeah. Only
because you're chatting with people in face to face, but you're really not. But it's and they can see you even more, and they trust you even more after seeing you face to face, because you're being authentic here right now. It's not staged. On Twitter chats, it's the same thing. You like building trust with them while you're chatting with them, on Twitter chats. But it's much more community oriented there, and it serves a different purpose as well. Here is like you connect, you build trust even more. Twitter chats is the same thing, but it's just tweeting in 140 characters.
Yeah, Lindsay, what are your thoughts on Twitter chats versus Blab?
I think they're both great. I think it just depends what kind of person you are. Some people need to have that visual confirmation that person is real, almost, I want to say. I don't know. I feel like the video thing does give it a lot more dimension in getting to know people. But I've built a lot of great relationships out of Twitter chats too. So
I can see that the visual thing changes everything. Blab is a game changer for me. It's absolutely a game changer. But I can still see that there's people that thinking, what, I'm in jammies. I don't really want to hang out on Blab today, but I'm happy to go in a Twitter chat because I can sort of hang out with people and I can be invisible. And I can see that there is enormous value in that if that's where your headspace is that day. Okay, I can still hang out with the same people. They can't see me, and that's the point, because I'm in jammies. I just woke up. Like, I wake up at 6 a.m. I get out of bed at 6 a.m. and the world is thumping already going, Keith, where are you? I've been awake for hours. And I've got this big, long list of emails because people, even though you're a day behind, it's like it's 10:30 in the morning here. I've only really got up. I mean, I've only been awake a few hours. But I've got this long stream of activity from you guys who've been awake all day. You're going to be going to bed soon. I mean, how many times has this happened to us, Lindsay? Oh, look, Keith, I know you're excited. You've had your breakfast and you're starting to get going, but it's bedtime for me.
I know. I always feel like I'm saying I'm going to bed when you message me. And in that instance, you might feel like a Twitter chat would suit you better because you sort of feel like hanging out online. There's nothing on telly. But you don't really want to show your face. Or you've had a hard day and you don't want to put lippy on or have a shave, as it is for me. I've run out of black T-shirts, so I thought, no. I've just decided that this is my new look. Ever since going to Laos, I'm not going to wear a suit anymore, ever, probably ever. I'm just going to buy 100 black T-shirts with all these cool sayings on them, and that's going to be my look. That's going to be my brand. That's okay. Black T-shirts and jeans, because we live in a world now where suits and ties and going into the city is not the world that I prefer to live in. It's lots of my mates don't do that anymore. Do you guys still go into the city? For work, for work.
Well, I actually work at a coffee shop right now, but other than that, if it has better Wi-Fi, I'll be here in downtown Houston.
It has occurred to me, Cheval, that your life is very similar to the internship. Have you seen the internship where they go for that interview in the library? Have you seen that where they go for it? They're on a Google Hangout. No. And you got to see the internship.
Oh yeah.
Vince Vaughn and these 40-year-old guys lose their job as watch salesmen, and they want to get a job at Google. And you're the guy that's hanging out in the coffee shop thinking, I get this Google Hangout thing. Well, where are you? The library. No, mate. This is my office. And there's kids playing in the background, and there's someone telling a story, and there's a clown, I even think, running around. And when I see you in that coffee shop, I think of you out and about, Skyping in. But this is what we're talking about, isn't it? We're talking about a world where going to work on the train and working 9 to 5 or 8 till 6, and then coming home and cooking dinner and having weekend. There it is. Thank you. There's a little Scott message. I just love that movie. Have you seen this movie? Have you seen this scene where they?
Yeah, it's funny.
The library, Google Hangout, and just as a decoder, while we're waiting for Madeline, of course, to call back in, Lindsay has an amazing article about the difference between Google Hangouts and Blab, which she wrote for SEM Rush. Brilliant article.
Oh, really?
Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between Google Hangouts and Blab? And then we'll segue back into the wonderful Madeline.
Yes, and I will share the link in a second. But the big thing is, I think this one, Blab, is just more conversational, whereas Google Hangouts is very focused on, depending if we're talking about Google Hangouts on air or Google Hangouts. So the Google Hangouts on air is basically you're more talking to people, reverse that. Google Hangouts is you're kind of talking to people. So it's kind of more, I'd say, if you're going to be doing a webinar or something like that, it's best to use Google Hangouts. I think a lot of them both of them kind of have their pros and cons. I do like the fact, though, with Google Hangouts, you can make it private and you can only invite certain people.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas Blab, everybody's open to coming into your Blab and talking, or requesting to come on. And I think that's one of the big things I don't necessarily like as much about Blab, but I do find it's more interactive. There's more people just hanging out, seeing, who's on, like, let's see what's going on. And whereas Google Hangouts, I don't really go into the Google Hangouts kind of main page and I'm not like, let's just see who's hanging out. Whereas Blab, I do that.
Yeah.
So
what do you think, Madeline? Let's bring you back in. Do you use both? I can't use them here. They're just impossible to use in Australia. Google
Talking
Hangouts.
about Google Plus?
Awful. They're
Oh.
awful.
They're terrible. It's terrible. You know, I remember when they first came out, I was all over that. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Game changer. Problem is, my music community was so against going into a whole nother platform, so nobody would use it. And I'm like, but this is going to be a game changer. I mean, imagine getting on there and playing your music and playing it with other people. And my vision was to start like a song circle with musicians all over the world, everybody taking turns playing music. But nobody would get on there. They just wouldn't do it. And so I was really frustrated. But what I noticed from day one with Hangouts is that it was buggy. There were a lot of problems with it. People would struggle. And because most people are not techie, they would get that deer in the headlight. Like they planned this huge hangout, like a webinar, right? And I had been using GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar forever. So I stuck with it. I never stopped paying. Like, it is worth every penny. Because you watch people like, I'm going to do this big event. And then you get there and then they're having technical difficulties and they don't know what to do. And the whole thing falls apart. And it just kept happening over and over with so many people. And I just didn't see the value in it. And the ones I did, you know, it was great that you could go put it on YouTube or that it went directly to YouTube. But I think Blab is so much better. Here it's in beta, and it's like, I feel like it's 10 times more reliable than Google Plus has ever been with their Hangouts. So I think it's for people that wanted a free platform to do webinars or to bring people together and do things. I think it's great. But for me personally, when I put on webinars and I do classes, I pay for GoToMeeting and I pay for GoToWebinar, and I never, ever have it go down on me. I've never had a problem. It's never had issues. It works perfectly. So that's been my take on it. Now, Blab is so amazing that, you know, I see this as a big game changer, but it's still us marketing people. Like where's everybody else? You know, I think they're going to make it over here. I think it's going to take time.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many people say, yeah, I saw that you posted this Blab thing. So people are hearing about it more and more, but they're still not sure. I think people must think that this is like a platform they have to join, like Facebook, you know, like, oh, this is another thing I got to go do. No, click the link and come over and hang out with us. It's fun.
The actual tagline on the Twitter account actually says it all. It says, click a button, start a TV show. That's actually that's such a clever way to phrase it. It's a one-click operation, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Can I add to what you said, Madeline? I think also like they probably like don't understand like these different technologies as well, because they still like, because it's like they have so much, like they concentrate on running their business, and then it's like you have to, you know, social media is moving very fast. And you have to like learn each platform, and it's like they don't have time to learn all this stuff. So I think that's the reason why they're not on here. And I'm referring to an article that was written by Victoria Taylor of who runs a company called Blend Social. She posted earlier today, and it was a really great article that explains like how, you know, we have to teach them how to, you know, about these different platforms if we want them to be on here, because they're not going to get it immediately. It's like it's going to take time for them to understand like what Blab is or what Periscope is.
Right.
So it's like we just have to be the teachers.
And that brings it back to the premise, which is I'm going to keep bringing it back to this idea each session. Businesses, and even me personally, I'm only going to be involved in new programs, new platforms, if we can see the value. I don't particularly want to get my head around Snapchat if there's no value to me as a business owner. I'm hearing about it. I've heard that it's pretty cool. I had a go at it. But I'm not sure I see the value yet. So unless I can join the dots.
I agree. All the top marketers are flocking over to it, and they're saying, and even Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like my idol, I don't see the value in it. I watch what they're doing and I'm like, okay, why do I need to go make these videos of like, here's what I'm doing right now. Here's what I'm doing now. It's like all they're doing is showing, okay, I get it. Behind the scenes. Okay, cool. Does anybody really want to see me just sitting here at my desk working? Because that's what I do all day. I think it's boring. I don't think anybody cares.
You're pretty funky, Lindsay. What do you think of it?
Well, I'm trying. Sorry?
You got your finger on the pulse. I'm pretty inclined to trust your judgment.
I'm trying to. I downloaded it and then I deleted it and then I downloaded it again because everybody is saying like, oh, it's going to be the next big thing. But I don't know. I can't seem to stay consistent with it. It is interesting to kind of see kind of behind the scenes of people like Gary Vee and that. But unless I know you, I don't really, this is going to sound terrible, but care what you're doing.
That's a good point.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's, and I feel like maybe Twitter started out this way because it started as people kind of thought like it was a, like, well, this is what I'm doing. I am eating a donut. But you know what I do really like about Snapchat is those stories that you see at the top with the big brands. I really, really like those. I think they're cool. I can't imagine how much they even cost to make or create or how you do it. I think those are really cool. If it was more like, if you saw more of those from, I guess,
the National Geographic
regular
National one.
Yeah, they're kind of cool. So, but otherwise, I've found it's becoming more of a thing with just me and like my friends and family. Not so much business-wise.
And that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually, like, if I was going to use it, it would just be for my friends. Like, I don't think, I mean, if other people wanted to watch, you know, whatever it is I create, but I don't think I would create something I'd want to be public. I think it would just be for my friends. You know, like, hey, here I'm being silly, doing something, you know, like, I wouldn't want everybody to see that because everybody's like, oh, you know, no, I wouldn't do that. But there's different uses. There's different ways to use it.
I found there was a bit of a learning curve. I couldn't quite figure it out at first, and I was really paranoid about sending something that was public to everybody, or something that was private to everybody. So there is kind of a bit of a learning curve. I didn't find it very intuitive to use.
Yeah.
You want to pick up on that question? You want to pick up on that question?
And also, and before we do, though, we have a lot of people that have been here the whole time. I would like to kind of cycle through and get some other people that would like to come on the video chat with us, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, Lindsay, thanks for coming on with us. And Cheval, it's always great seeing you every week.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah. So I would love to see some other people. Dagmar, you've been here this whole time, and Jerry's been here, and Kim just got here. So we'd love for a couple of you guys to come on and come chat with us and give us your perspective. And Jose's been here for quite a while, and he was saying how much he likes using Snapchat. I would love to hear his 2 cents. But yeah, I saw the question that Christopher posted on here. What happens to Blab when Periscope or Meerkat as group chat streaming? I really don't think that's going to matter. You know, first of all, Meerkat, I'm like, who even talks about Meerkat anymore? It's sad to say because I'm all about the underdog. And when Meerkat, man, I was all over that. And when Periscope started, I'm like, screw Periscope. I'm a Meerkat girl. But eventually Periscope won me over. And at one point I had more followers on Periscope and I wasn't even using it. So I switched over and I love Periscope. But I think Blab has so much value. This is so different from using Periscope and Meerkat. So I really don't see them competing. I think it'd be great if Periscope and Meerkat adds group chat to what they've got. I think that'd be awesome. I really don't see, I really think Blab is, you know, on track to being huge. And if we can just get people over here, you know, get the mainstream people over here. But I don't know, Keith, what do you think? Because I mean, that's my 2 cents on that.
I was just saying when you were feeding Doggy there was a couple of major advantages, just for the people that haven't heard this before or will edit it out in a replay. There's a couple of major advantages about Blab that I love. I get an email with a video and a podcast in my inbox on the same day, and I simply download it, put it on YouTube and SoundCloud. It's such a wonderful way to use technology in an efficient way. This particular conversation is chunky. You know, this is really good value, like a really good value conversation. And, you know, a lot of people, even now, haven't heard of this cool dude from Melbourne, Australia, who's 10 minutes from the beach and wears a black T-shirt every day. They haven't heard of me yet. But now, people from the other side of the world are going, hey, that funny accent he talks about. I've seen him online, but I didn't know he was an Aussie. So Blab allows us to have a conversation which is very natural. I get a video which I put on YouTube. I get an audio which I put on SoundCloud with some funky music at the front and the back. I embed it in a blog. I think that's where Blab's going. Periscope is me on my phone. Hello, I'm here. Periscope is me on my phone. And Meerkat was that, and now still is, but apparently you can add a GoPro. Apparently they've teamed up with GoPro. So maybe
that's really
a bit of a kickback.
That's really a cool feature. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be cool. Yeah, Cheval, you can come on back in. You know, it's so funny. I always think other people want to come on here, and I hate, you know, kicking people off. But you know, all right, Lindsay, if you want to come back on.
She's always got cool stuff. Or she gone to bed? Sorry, tweeting goddess.
I think she's left. I don't see her on here. I think she it is late over there in Ireland. So, it would have been great having her.
He had some good stuff. He had some good stuff.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Lindsay.
If anybody else wants to come on, Paul, I see you here. You can come on and chat with us. I want somebody to not make an excuse and just come on here. Okay, you know, we're here.
There we go. So we got
Here's
two.
Jose.
Jose.
Yeah, okay. Kim, hold on. Hey, Cheval, can we let Kim on because she wants to? Of course. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in.
We'll have you back on in a few. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. Nice to meet you in person now after seeing you on Twitter for so long.
I know.
It's always nice seeing the faces. I want to say in person. It feels like it's in person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of Twitter, it does.
Yeah. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Madeline. I'm sorry. I've got this alfalfa thing going on in my hair right now.
It's great to see you.
Good to see
both of you.
I'm so excited. We've got our Twitter chat again coming this week. I wasn't going to jump in but you were looking for people to jump in. My thing with Blab versus Periscope, and I love Periscope, don't get me wrong, but Blab just really seems to be, for me, what works for me with building followers and having the multiple interactions. And I used to, like when I did WordCamp Orlando, I did Periscope to show everybody around. But when I did WordCamp US, Eileen and I, at Eileen, she's not on right now, we did Blabs. We still did Blabs, even though we were walking around doing what people think of traditional, more Periscope kind of stuff. And it was great. So, I'm just loving my Blab.
Yeah.
Good.
What about you, Jose? What do you think of it? And more importantly, and equally as importantly, you're the only person I know that likes Snapchat, other than Gary Bird.
Yeah, surely I can't be the only one, though. Well, for me, I enjoy the conversational aspect of Blab. I like Periscope, but for me, that's more one-way talk. And I watch him. I still love it, but Blab allows that for that conversation that you don't get from Periscope. So it's kind of like I mentioned earlier on the conversation on the side is Twitter chats brought to another level. That's what it feels like to me.
Great way of putting it. Yeah, totally.
I like that.
Blab,
Twitter chats are great. What's that?
Blab, where everyone knows your name.
No, I say Twitter chats where everybody knows your name.
Right.
I wrote an article about that.
I know, that's why I'm taking the piss. We need to do a revamp on that.
But actually Blab would be the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what, wasn't that like last week or recently where you're like asking about like would Blab replace Twitter chats? Right? Wasn't that something you had asked us before, Keith?
Yeah, I actually did a poll about it.
Yeah. And I just don't see, right, that's right. I don't see that happening. I mean, I feel like I love Twitter chats. I am all about Twitter chats, as you guys know. And I mean, I've been running Twitter chats for 4.5 years. They're amazing. Even though this, like Jose's saying, like this is so awesome, it's completely different, you know, is taking it to the next level. I like when you have a Twitter chat and then afterwards people jump on a Blab and go chat. I think that's really cool. But I don't see it replacing. I feel like it enhances it. It takes these relationships like, you know, Kim and Jose, I know you guys from Twitter chats. And so now we get to hang out and I feel like, you know, we're just like on
Actually, I met you first on a Blab.
That is true. That is true.
I met you first on a Blab, but you are the one who introduced me to Twitter chats. I'd never been on Twitter chat.
That's right.
And I think they're two different platforms.
Yes.
I think they are both individually beautiful for what they do, and I think there's a beautiful crossover, but there's not a this or that. They're just two different platforms. It's like, you know, do I want to meet you at the coffee shop or do I want to talk to you on the phone? I probably want to do both depending on the day, or either depending on the day. It just depends.
Good point.
You know,
That's actually a very good analogy. Do I want to meet you in the coffee shop or talk to you on the phone? So
that's the way I think of it.
A Twitter chat is sort of like talking on the phone. I can't see you, but you're there and we're having a real chat. A coffee shop.
Uh-oh, did we lose Keith?
I don't know.
He froze up.
Yeah,
We're timing out.
So Jose, how many Twitter
see ya.
chats do you get
Well,
on? You get
it's
on a
more
lot?
personal experience. It's really different.
Because I always see you on a variety.
Yeah, I try to hit at least one a day is what I try to do.
Wow.
I do. I really enjoy them for as far as just connecting and building relationships with other people. I've found a lot of success in doing that.
Yeah. So what are your favorites?
You know, I love Twitter Smarter. It was one of the first chats I ever did.
Really?
Yes, it was. And it was one of the ones where I got to really learn how to use Twitter. Because I'm still, I started Twitter a few years ago, didn't touch it until earlier this year. So
wow.
I know.
Okay. I would have never known that from watching you on Twitter. Wow.
I've learned a lot over the past year on how to really use Twitter.
Well, you know, Twitter chats are such a great way to learn because so many people, when I was running my music communities chat, so many people say, I'm not using Twitter, but I want to come on your chat. And I say, well, just come over, watch what we're doing and jump in. You got to participate. You got to at least let us know you're there. And so many people would say, gosh, I learned so much. And it helped them really get up to speed on it. So it's so cool hearing you both talk about that as well. So that's good.
Yeah. And people are willingly to help you out on how to learn a platform. Yes. Even like I mentioned earlier, I learned about Blab through a Twitter chat. Someone had just put it on there and I was like, well, I'm going to go see what this Blab is all about.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool. Very, very cool. I love it. Yeah, Blab is so cool. I mean, this is such a great platform. I think it's just such a great extension from what we all do on Twitter. And there's so many different topics now on Blab. You know, when I was first on Blab several months back, it was so limited. And now you get on there, it's like flipping through a TV station, you know, like one after the other after the other. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. I liked how it's changed a little bit to involve all these different topics. It's not so much focused. When I first got on, it was like mostly was about marketing and stuff to deal with marketing. But now you see all these little tidbits popping up here and there. I'm like, wow, these, you know, you really see the expansion of this platform outside of just the marketing aspect.
I saw this one where this lady was cooking, and so she had two cameras. So one, you know, of her forward facing, and the other one where I guess it was maybe a tripod looking down at what she was cooking. And I thought, how cool and unique is that? And she's like giving us a lesson through Blab. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I've seen
That's
one like
very
that where a gentleman does a cooking show, I think every day, or maybe it's once a week on Wednesdays, where he's a professional chef and you just watch him cook his meal. I think it's great.
That's so cool.
That's very cool. My only thing with that, my business is predominantly teaching online video training and things like that. And I love Blab and I use Blab every day. I'm on some level of Blab, but I actually still use my webinar software, because when you're talking about that level of showing people, when you're in a Blab, you've only got that little tiny square. And when I have my full out webinar, I can do the full screen. And that's the one thing that keeps me from going 100% Blab for some of my stuff, because if I'm doing a lot of technical step-by-step, that big screen makes a difference for people. And that's the one thing that I still keep my webinar software because of that.
And what software do you use?
I split myself between Webinar Ninja, which is, I love those guys. I personally know them and love them. But I do still keep a Webinar Jam account, because Webinar Ninja, I've been an early adopter on them. They just came online in the last, 15 months maybe. And there's still just some things that they haven't gotten down yet. So I keep both. I'm leaning towards them because I just love them, and I hope that they will iron everything out. So they will just be my only one I recommend. But those are the two I use.
That's cool. I mean, I know that you can do screen share. I know people have like some software on their computer and then they can screen share, here, but our individual screens are too small.
Right. If you can, there's some ways to do it, but it's still just in your one square.
Right. So, and it's just too small. Yeah, I'm hoping. And one of the things I love about Blab is they really pay attention to everybody and they come into everybody's chats. I think it would be awesome if they came up with a way where if I was just going to do it by myself or just have a guest, that they would give me more real estate here so that I could screen share and you could actually like really see what I'm doing.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Great idea.
That would be awesome.
I love that, like you said, they do listen. I mean, they pop into our Blabs. They answer us. They are the Blab folks. And I don't know any of them personally. I just know them from chatting with them on Blab.
Yeah.
But they are some of the most responsive people when it comes to platforms that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And I love that. Okay. Keith's rebooting. I was wondering what's taking him so long. It's okay, Keith.
Some problems here.
We'll wait for you. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden they came up with that where, if you're just going to do a solo show that, you get the real estate to screen share. I think that would be just incredible. Even if I had half the screen, but the little, just 1/4 here, is just, and also what would be nice is on the left side, it shows the questions, for me as the host, and then the title, and then the little tweet, and by the way, the reason why I was gone earlier is because I was trying to do the tweet, and it did that to me last week where I clicked on it and my machine hung up. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Everybody else can tweet, but I'm not going to, because I'm the host, so I need to not get my computer mad at me anymore. But what would be nice is I wish that on the side here, this would be optional and I could actually click it and turn it off, because the questions I can see when people post on the questions in the box here, I see them. I don't need them on the other side. I see why they're doing it, so it'll stand out, but it'd be nice if some of this stuff is optional and maybe the title at the top and not on the side, and have a little bit more space here.
Yes.
That could be really cool. I mean, that could be a real game changer. Like I said earlier, I'm all about GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar. I've been a paying customer for probably, 6 or 7 years. I get so much value out of it. It doesn't get hung up. I don't get any problems. Like, it works great. But I love this format. And so if I was able to screen share where you could see my screen, I would definitely consider moving it over here.
Right. Oh, me too. If I could share my screen, I definitely would. Now, the GoToWebinar hangs my computer in a horrible way every time I use it.
Really?
I had them for years.
Wow.
And I would have to reboot right before doing it. And then it was a nightmare. So I stopped. And the other thing with them was in order to record my screen share, I could record the webinar and I could record my slides. But if I wanted to do a screen share, because what I do is technology teaching, I had to actually launch another third-party platform because their recording did not allow that at the time. It might now, but at the time it didn't. So that was always a third pain in the patootie to figure out. But yeah, if Blab particularly allowed us more of that real estate, like you said, oh my gosh, that becomes just so incredibly powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And Trevor's been throwing out some really good comments on here. Number one, I like this one where he said he wished the comments would be newest at the top so the host didn't have to keep looking at the bottom left. I so agree. Like, it's so weird. Like, we're always looking at the bottom of our screen. Yeah. And then also he says even a floating pop-up window. And that would be cool. Like, it'd be nice if like we could have some control over all of this on here. I like the idea of a floating pop-up window. That's a really great idea.
Yeah.
They need to be in here right now listening to us because we're giving them great ideas, you know. Jose, I want to go back to you though, because when I asked you about what are your favorite Twitter chats, we were going down that path, but then we all were like, oh my God, when you said I go to one every day. So that means you do a lot, but you're also consistent, right? Because I see you on a lot of different ones. And, you know, I always tell people consistency is the key. It's like, if you want to be like Norm from Cheers, where everybody knows your name, consistently go to the same Twitter chats and everybody will get to know you and you become like the rock star there. Everybody knows you. Cheval is very good at that.
Yes,
he's always on all the chats and that's why everybody knows him, you know, which is so cool. So what are some of your favorites, Jose? Which ones do you like?
I like I said, Twitter Smarter. I like Buffer Chat.
Good one. Yeah.
That's a good one. Let me see. I have pulled them up. What's funny is I have a list of everything I go to. Cool. So I like Twub's Chat. I've done a couple they combine Blab and Twitter Chat, which is really cool. I kind of enjoy that. Let's see. Hoot Chat's another good one. Viral Chat. What is this? Social Chat. That's another one that I enjoy.
Social Chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
those are all good ones. Those are all really good ones.
Quite a bit of them.
Have you been on Media Chat on Thursday nights?
No, I haven't. That's
a really good one. This Thursday. What time zone are you in?
Central.
Me too. Where are you at?
I'm in Texas, Lubbock. It's a small Texas area.
Yeah, I'm in Houston.
Oh, okay. See, not too far.
So is Cheval. Yeah. Media Chat is Thursday nights at 9:00. So it's right after Viral Chat. Viral Chat is 8:00 Central. So Media Chat's 9:00 Central. That's a really good one. I've met some really great people that I've become really good friends with through Media Chat. Aaron Kilby runs that one.
Okay, that sounds like a good one. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Well, the ones that you're naming, I've been on all of those. I've been a guest on all of them. Also, Buffer Chat was the best. I love being a guest on Buffer Chat. And Social Chat, I've gotten to know them. I actually interviewed Alan and Alan and Michelle for my podcast. That episode is coming out real soon. And Who Chat's a good one, and Viral Chat. Oh, look at the kitty cat.
Sorry,
that's okay.
She just joined us.
Oh, Viral Chat is really, really good, and I always wanted to go because I love Aaron. He's been on my Twitter chat, and just love that guy. He's so smart. He writes really great blog posts over at Post Planner.
Yes.
And the reason why I haven't been able to go all this time is that my music community, Go Girls Music, we have a daytime chat, 2:00 Central, and then again at 8:00 Central on Thursdays. And I just started getting some help so that other people are stepping up and hosting it so that it's not all on me, so that I can like go do other things. And it's like, oh my God, I can get on Viral Chat. I was so excited. So it was right before the holidays. And I'm like, I was like having the best time. I was like, oh my God, I know everybody here. It's so cool.
And I've noticed that a lot of these chats you're on, you can meet people because they're at every one of these chats at least once a week or something. So you get to really know them based on whatever the topic is. You're like, they're really knowledgeable in this area. I want to connect with them outside of this chat so I can just learn a little bit more and pick their brains as much as possible.
Exactly. It's awesome. So those are all really good chats. That's really great. So what do you do for work? Like what is your job?
I'm a recruiter.
Oh, I was on, who was doing that one that I popped in on? It was a Blab. Cause it's somebody I know through my music community, but she's also, a recruiter.
The social recruiting show with, Winning Impress. Does that sound familiar?
That might be it. It is, is it Audrey or Audra?
Yeah. Audra Knight.
Yeah. Audra Knight. Yeah. She's going to have me on their Blab.
Oh, awesome.
They want me to come on and talk about Twitter. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Twitter marketing on there. Yeah, I since I know her, I hopped on the Blab recently, and you were on there, and I was like, oh my gosh. Well, I think you were just in the chat room, but I was like, that was just so cool. It's like always cool when you like recognize people on Twitter chats and Blabs and stuff. So
yeah,
very cool. Well, we're already an hour in, so we need to start winding down. Does anybody have like any questions about Twitter? Our topic today, I wanted to talk about the big news with this 10,000 character Twitter. I'm just so disappointed. But we're also talking about monetizing your Twitter marketing in 2016. And what I love about our chat is that we also just talk about whatever comes up. And we spent so much time talking about Blab, which was awesome. And here comes Trevor. And I don't know why Keith can't get in here. We miss Keith. Oh, Jose, that's okay. We totally understand. Hey, Trevor, how are you?
Not bad at all. Midnight here in the UK, but still going.
Wow. Well, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for like all your cool comments that you were posting. Really great points you were making.
Yeah, no, I love Twitter chats. I run some Twitter chats myself, jump in, join others, and I love Blab as well. And I think Blab has just, I don't know, it's kind of extended it. What we want to do this year is we have a Star Biz each week on our Twitter hour. So we pick a featured business, we make them Star Biz for the next week, and they're the featured one we talk about. And then my plan is then to do a Twitter Star Biz chat on Blab afterwards, or maybe a following week, so they're not jumping straight on, and interview each Star Biz each week. So it's sort of an add-on that builds the Twitter hour. Because the one thing with Twitter hours is another 167 hours in a week you kind of forget about. And you focus all your efforts in that 1 hour, and there's a lot of time the rest of the week. So it just extends it through. And I think it naturally flows on from there, really. And I've had lots of people I wasn't ready in last year because Christmas gets in the way, doesn't it? But lots of people say, I'll do an hour on Blab afterwards. So a lot of people sort of lined up ready to do it.
I think it's a great. Yeah, I think that's such a great thing to do. And I love your other comment you posted too. You said Twitter chats let you cut through the noise, the Twitter noise, and focus on a subject and community. And it's so incredibly true because there is so much noise out there. And that's why I always tell everybody, well, go do lists, because Twitter lists will help cut down all the noise. But then a Twitter chat, I just love because we're all focused on that one hashtag for an hour, having great conversation, meeting great people. There's just nothing else that I think that comes close to that.
I'm a bigger fan of Twitter hours than I am Twitter lists. Twitter lists are great for organising in your own little world. I think the Twitter hours are great for engagement, and Twitter hours have changed my life incredibly. I think, Sam Tweeting Goddess was probably in this one earlier. She's arranging a conference in March this year, and I'm going to that because of the Twitter hour she set up. That got me onto Twitter and connected to lots of people in Ireland. And, I'm now going to go to Ireland, and I've now got a fan club in Ireland that want to meet me because I've been on Twitter hours and I'm in the UK.
Awesome.
And they've only ever met me on Twitter, and so that's the power of the Twitter hour. So the other one you talked about all the slide sharing and slideshows. You may have seen the Blab I did for my wife where we were making jam. So we've got two cameras. We've got two cameras in our kitchen studio, and we've got one zoomed in on the pan and one on normal shot.
Nice. I think that's smart. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
And I've been slide sharing this evening, but first time Blab, they've now moved the window sideways. if you look at you on screen, you're not in the center of your square. You're to me, you're to the right of your square, and they've shifted everything over. So all my slides are dropping off the edge of the thing. So I don't know what they're obviously figuring out something, but yeah, but full screen would be brilliant. It really would. But you just have to be creative.
Yeah.
I mean, when I do the jam making, I put slides up with the like recipe links. I just make sure it fits a square, and just make sure it sort of fits in the middle, really. But it's a learning curve. We're all moving. It's still in beta, isn't it? So lots of
That's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah. So,
Very cool. Hey, Paul.
Hello, just in the boss's office for a couple of minutes.
Cool. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you. I mean, monetization is a big one. I think we've talked a little bit on Twitter before, the Twitter chat, and what the value of one is. And I think the move to have questions on graphics gives you a platform and real estate to put adverts for sponsorship. I've yet to been able to explain that or get sort of or get interest in that space. But I think that's a way of monetizing Twitter.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So I've tried explaining it. It didn't. The people just didn't seem to get it. And so I now need to. I've been doing it for about three weeks now. So I now need to put a pack together to demonstrate it and say, hey, look, if you'd been here, you would have been seen by 4 million eyes.
Nice.
And I think that'll then be. That'll then make. I think they'll get it then. But I think you have to demonstrate it, which is why I'm doing a pilot Blab show late this week, early next week, hopefully, and I'll have one computer set up that records or does a screen record of it embedded in my website. Another computer recording the actual thing through Blab, and have like multiple computers around the house recording different views of it to put together
just do screen share. I mean, you can screen share on the Blab, but it's square, which is very annoying. Nothing else is square in this world apart from Blab. But I mean, I've screen shared on Blab, but it's just the challenge of getting it so it appears kind of okay. But, or get lots of computers. The problem I've got here, we've got very, very slow broadband here, and I can't cope with sort of 2 video streams going out. It just crashes. So. Oh
wow.
Yeah.
That could be challenging.
Yeah. Have you guys tried Meevee?
Like what? Sorry.
Meevee.
Not yet. No, it's only on.
I just heard of that.
It's only on iOS, isn't it? And I'm on Android, so I think Android's out in a couple of months.
Yeah. Tell us about that real quick, because we need to wrap up. But I just saw Brian Fanzo posted about that on Facebook today.
So Meevee is the new Periscope kind of thing. It's HD, and unfortunately their data center in Australia isn't working properly, so it's not working for me.
Okay.
But they all keep recording forever, not just 24 hours.
Okay.
Which is different. They'll give you an embed code, which you can then embed it elsewhere, and you can also do a private groups version as well, where only people from that group will be able to see it, and also they'll be able to see the recording, and you can't share the recording outside of that group. So those are the kind of the things of setting up channels. So there's a sports channel, this channel, that channel, and they're going to have channels for specific events. So for various conferences, they'll have a temporary channel, so everyone who's doing streaming for that conference can go on there. Can put them together so you can find them all together. And it shares out to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can actually, through a desktop, you can watch it within Facebook. It doesn't take you out of Facebook when you click on the link.
I think the good thing is you can watch it on any browser, really. You don't need Periscope. Like Periscope, you've got to download Periscope to watch it, haven't you? Whereas this, you can just watch it on a browser or anything. You don't need special text to watch it.
Whilst you can only broadcast from a phone, if you're watching through a browser, you can log in through your Twitter handle and comment and type in. So,
nice. Awesome. So you think that's going to be like the new thing for 2016?
It'll be anything.
It'll be anything. But they're also going to share. They're looking for partners. They'll share advertising revenue as well, so you can monetize your live streaming.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
but you have to get something like over an average of 500 viewers or 500 or 600 viewers per stream.
Okay.
And that's a hell of a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It's the new thing.
Yeah,
this week,
because
isn't it? Next week will be something else.
Yeah, because I'll look at different, blabs and see the total number, and it's like the big name marketers get, easily 500 or more. Like Kim Garst, did a real big one a few months back. They said that brought Blab down, and it was like a crazy number of views. So that's cool. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Well,
I'm gonna definitely
they've
check
tested
it
it
out.
at a sports event. It has like 30,000 viewers.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
And it held up okay.
And it held up okay.
So I've been listening in, but I couldn't get in. This is a very good example of what's happening here. If Blab's watching this, what can they do to make sure that they are the premier service? I'm attached to Blab. I feel we've been here at the start. I want to see this baby succeed. I want to push everyone away and say Blab is the one. How can they improve? What are they not doing? What are they not doing that we all want to add? What are they missing that they can do to, like, obviously you've got to allow people to get in easier, but other than that, they're doing pretty much everything else, aren't they? Are they lacking in a couple of key areas?
I want to be able to put a YouTube
one of the things
clip
we
in a window.
mentioned. Yes. Wait, say that again.
I want to be able to put a YouTube clip in a window. So I want to be talking about rugby and show a highlight.
Do that.
And say.
I did that with YouTube as well, didn't it?
That would be good.
You can do it with other stuff. I want it in Blab. I just want to copy and paste a link straight into a window, and that's what shows in that window.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay, so copy and paste
that.
straight into YouTube.
Or any.
Yeah.
or
And
any
Keith,
URL.
Yeah.
And did you hear us earlier talking about how we would love to be able to have more real estate so that if we were doing a webinar, so like if I was going to do a solo webinar, that instead of the 4 boxes, like I'm just in a little box, and I would get all the space. We all agree that, to be able to have more of the space here, because our one little screen is not enough for screen share. You just can't really see things.
Yeah.
If you're doing a webinar.
I've used a peer in to do that, because you can get a slightly bigger window on the main window for a peer in, and you can make that private as well if you want to. And that's quite an easy thing to use.
Yeah.
And that's free. So.
Well, considering how much Blab has not been around that long, and look at how much they've done in a short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
And they just keep improving, and they keep listening to everybody and taking the feedback. So I imagine in 2016, Blab is going to blow up, is going to just keep improving, and more people are going to come over here and see the power of it.
I think also finding stuff is very, very difficult now. They need to get better channels. And if I'm following these 20 people, I want to be able to go and see when their next scheduled stuff is. I can't do that very easily.
That would be great.
When I look at somebody, I want to be able to look at them on the mobile app and go, when are their next shows?
Yeah.
I can't see that either.
Yeah.
No, their program.
And then finally, I want.
So their program
I want a
filtering
series.
and searching is pretty diabolical at the moment, isn't it? But I guess it's on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is anyone?
I want a series. I want to be able to say.
Does that help people? I'm a Samsung S4 devotee. I'm anything but Apple. But does anyone use the Apple app? Does anyone use Apple?
I use the app all the time.
Access this stuff.
Yeah, I
never.
I don't really get on
never
with the
use
app.
laptop.
I mostly just do it on my computer. Even though I have the app on my iPhone, I hardly ever use it on the iPhone.
Okay.
I'd rather just be on the
I
computer.
think in some ways that's what's dividing the sort of Periscope Blab. I don't use Periscope because I hate using my phone because my fingers. I have special fingers. Look at them, special fingers. They don't work on touchscreens. They just don't work on touchscreens. I spend my life swiping my phone here, and nothing works. So I'm not on Periscope because I can't use my phone. I'm on Blab because it's on my desktop and I can use my.
So there's really no point in them doing an Android app then? That's not something they should be developing some time on?
I have used the Android app for Blab. Waste of time. Absolutely.
Is there one now? There is one now.
Well, you're not an app, but just use the web. You know, you go to the web browser, use Chrome on it. But it's pretty tedious. For my fingers, it is anyway. That's my fingers. I just have funny fingers. But
also doing a series, so I want to be able to subscribe to your guys talk at this time every week.
Yeah,
and tell me about it. Why should I have to subscribe to each one individually?
Right, that would be good. That's a really good one. I like that.
Yeah. But I think in reflection, when you think, you know, I'm a web developer, when you think the tech that they have put together, it's pretty awesome, really, isn't it? Really, when you stop back and you look at the coding they've done and how they've created what's in front of you.
The reason I'm asking the question is I don't want Blab to become a Meerkat. I'm with you, Madeline. I was fighting tooth and nail for Meerkat. You beauty, you thought of the idea. You go, girl. Or go, Gary. You go, Gary. You know, he threw $1 million at it, maybe $100 million. I don't know how much he threw at it, but he threw a bucket of money at this product. And then suddenly another little dude comes along and says, oh, that's a good idea. I'll have that. And then a week later, steals the idea. I'm pretty angry at that, even though I'm a Twitter dude. I'm pretty angry at that. It's not fair play, is it? So I don't want Blab to become another Meerkat. It's awesome. It's awesome, and it's awesome in its own right. I don't want someone to come and usurp it. So I'd be really keen to give them every piece of knowledge we have to keep them in the game. Yeah. And you know what, Keith? You mentioned and all these. There are obviously others coming along.
Yeah.
You know what, Keith? You know what makes Blab for me? Blab for me is the people. Mm-hmm. It's the Keiths, the Madelines, the Pauls. It's the people I've met on Blab, which has made it such an awesome platform. I've just met so many amazing people in such a short space of time that I've never met on other social media platforms.
You can be yourself.
You meet people on Twitter, but it's not quite the same, is it?
That's what Blab is for me. Sitting in the chair, talking to the screen. I'm not walking around my backyard with a phone in my hand, going to some fireworks in the middle of the night. I don't give a shit about. I really don't give a shit about that stuff. I don't give a shit about what's happening in Saudi Arabia or on Auckland, New Zealand. But I tell you what, I love sitting in these blabs and hearing about this 10,000 character limit story and all these things that are happening and the tech problems in all of the different parts of the world. And we're like a little family, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like us all being on Skype, you know, just kicking back, having a conversation, and we're all scattered around the world. And it's just amazing that we can sit here and come together and just chat.
Yeah.
But I think they need to learn from YouTube.
And the amazing thing is, I can sit here at nearly past midnight, wondering where my bed is. I shall leave you, and I'll find my bed.
I gotta go teach my Twitter class. This has been so great. You know, Keith and I do this every week. Every Tuesday is afternoon for me, and for Keith, it's actually the next day. It's Wednesday morning.
Always tomorrow in Australia.
Always tomorrow. But I have next week set up if you guys want to come over and subscribe. It's always on my Blab, so it's just blab.im/Madeline Sklar. And hope to see you guys next week. And thank you for being here. And Paul, it's great seeing you. And Trevor, great meeting you. And Keith, great seeing you as always. It's always a great time with everybody in the chat room.
You are too well there. We're doing Twitter tools next week. We're going to talk about all our favorite Twitter tools. Isn't that going to be cool?
That's going to be cool. I love talking about Twitter tools.
All right. Well, you go and do your class, and I'll put this replay up on YouTube and do a little bit of a funky highlights reel on SoundCloud, and we'll talk next week about Twitter tools.
Absolutely. You guys take care. Thank you, everybody, for being here. All of you guys that stuck out, you know, hanging out in the chat room there, and great seeing you all. Appreciate it. Big shout out to Dagmar and Cheval, and who else is still here? Ibrahim is here. George, thank you guys so much, and we'll be back next week.
We'll see you later.
Thanks, Keith. See ya. Signing off. Bye.